Hello, my crafting friends from around the world. I'm Martinette. I'm a member of the Global Inspiration Stamp team, and I am so excited to stamp with you this evening. Appreciate you joining our little group here where we are literally crowdsourcing wonderful stamping projects and craft ideas for you. It is my hope that you will join us in continuing to make these wonderful projects, and please post them. We want to see what you come up with. So, all right, I found us here. I try to have a monitor open so that I can follow along with any chat that's going on. And I see my friend Elizabeth is here. Emily, nice to meet you. And my friend Mary. So welcome, welcome, welcome. As I said, my name is Martinette, and I am in Durham, North Carolina in the United States. And I am just excited to share with you a sneak peek of some products that are coming available to you as customers in November. Your demonstrator has an opportunity to pre-order these wonderful products now, and hopefully we'll share them with you as well. Hey, Tamika. So when November rolls around, I want you to get in touch with your demonstrator about these wonderful products. So this is a little bit of a sneak peek at a collection of products called the framed florets. We were introduced to this collection during World Card Making Day, and I wonder how many of you had a chance to participate in World Card Making Day with folks literally, again, from around the world. That wonderful occasion was sponsored by Stampin' Up!, and we had a chance to get a sneak peek at these wonderful products. I will quickly give another peek at them, but then I'll get right into my project so that my friend following me will be able to close us out today and have plenty of time. So this is the project that I am making. And again, the collection of products that will be available starting November 1st include a set of framed florets dies. And as you can see, I've already started tearing into mine. I haven't even organized them yet, but we have these beautiful frames that give you a sense of an old picture frame or some type of vintage picture frame. We also have shapes for the flower bundles as well as some greenery, if you will. And you may have noticed I actually did something a little different with mine with a little gold bling on them. So that's exciting. And we have 2 stamp sets that are a part of the collection. Framed and Festive gives us a lot of choices for Christmas. It is a clean set. I absolutely fell in love with the font. The font is just everything. And we got a chance to get a peek at how the designers put that together. We have a photopolymer set here with the images and other sentiments that are all occasion. We have birthday, thank you, so lucky to call you friend for a special occasion. We have a beautiful set of embellishments, the gold adhesive backed swirls, and then of course, gorgeous designer series paper. Now, what I love about this designer series paper, as usual with Stampin' Up! Designer series paper, is the beautiful lush color combinations. Some of these color combinations I would never ever think of putting together. And so when I start to design my project, and especially if I'm stuck and about what to do, I go straight to the designer series paper first to give me an idea of some color combinations for cardstocks and coordinating colors. And that's exactly what I did here with this card. So nothing too fancy about this card, but I want you to pay attention to the color combination as I mentioned. And I am going to add a few products to this already beautiful designer series paper. So let me go ahead and get started here. Some of the things I've cut ahead of time just to save us a little bit of time. But I want to share with you some affordances of some tools that we have at our disposal that makes our crafting life a little easier from time to time. All right, let's see. Now my phone has turned itself in a weird direction, but on my computer, it looks like I'm still going landscape. So please let me know if something wonky is going on. I'm trying to prevent causing a catastrophe here by changing my phone. I don't know why it's looking weird. Hey there, Miss Allen and Nita and Tamika. Welcome and thank you also for joining us. All right, so I have my little pieces here. I'm going to get those out of the way because I want to show you something with this designer series paper. So this designer series paper has Night of Navy, that's the dark blue. We have Balmy Blue, which is a blue that I just don't typically use as much. Honestly, I forget about it. We have Evening Evergreen, which is what I'm using for the base. That's the darker green. That's a part of the flowers and the foliage here. And then we have some peaks of soft succulent. Both Evening Evergreen and Soft Succulent are part of the In Color collection that lasts through 2023, okay? But one of the things I wanted to do was play off this color combination, but I wanted to add just a subtle pop of color. So if you're looking at my finished project and the designer series paper that I cut to make the project with you, you might notice some red berries and some additional greenery that are not on my cut piece that I'm going to use for the project now. Well, that's because it's not there. This is the original designer series paper pattern and color combination, but I wanted to have a pop of red. Now for this card, I made it a thank you card, but I think I'm going to make this one with you into a Christmas card. And the color combination alone just screamed Christmas to me. I don't know why, can't tell you why, but sometimes you just look at something and you think this has to be a Christmas card or this has to be a birthday card. And so one of the things I am going to do to kind of move that towards more of a Christmas look is I'm going to use my blends. I'm actually going to color my designer series paper using my blends. And you may be saying, okay, big whoop, big deal. I forget to do this, you all. I forget to do this. It gives us more options with already gorgeous paper. So why not take advantage of that? Hey there, we have some more friends who've joined us, Terry and Joy. Glad you could join us for this demonstration. I think I should probably first go ahead and just glue down my paper. Let's do that first because then I will decide where I want to add that color because of course I'm layering things. So if something's going to be covered up, what's the point of wasting the ink? It really doesn't matter though. It doesn't matter. So, but I'm going to put my paper on my card base first. And I think we have enough thickness to where my blends will not come through the other side of that designer series paper or the cardstock, right? So it won't come through. It might come through the designer series paper, but we won't see it. But I think we have enough layering going on here that we won't be able to see it on the inside even when I color. And if that's the case, we can add another layer of basic white and use that and decorate it and camouflage whatever mistakes I make if that happens. Okay, so now that I have this glued down, I am going to use Poppy Parade blends to give me that pop of red, okay? That's going to make these berries certainly stand out. And just have that subtle hint of red. And you notice that I continued with that little idea by bringing in some more red from the foliage and the flowers. I'm even going to color in the berries that were already colored in with Balmy Blue. I just think that gives us such a really nice focal point with this designer series paper. It is beautiful enough on its own. We don't need to do a whole lot to it, but I just think it gives you even more options with colors. and using up your blends, using up your materials here. These are awesome to not only color in stamped images, but as I'm showing you here, we can color our designer series paper. Don't be afraid to do that. Sometimes I forget. I don't know about you, but I oftentimes forget about that. I've seen quite a few cards being shared in different groups among demonstrators and crafters with some of the fall designer series paper in the current mini. Folks have been coloring in that really rich I can't remember the name of it, please forgive me, but it has pumpkins and gourds and different fall images on it. And I've seen some really pretty stuff with that by coloring in and adding some depth and dimension by coloring in with these blends onto the designer series paper. So let's not forget about that. I'm also going to go in with Soft Succulent, the light blend, and I'm going to color in these little sprigs. And honestly, by the time I finish coloring these in, you really can't tell that they were white before. You can't tell that I actually altered the paper. It's just that coordinated in terms of the colors that are already on here. Such a smart move by Stampin' Up. We love the quality of the products, but I honestly feel like it's the coordination that gets most of us. What about you? I know that for me, the very first thing that got my attention and when I knew, okay, that's it, I need to become a demonstrator, was when I saw embossing. I don't know what it was. It was the magic of watching that powder change under the heat gun. I thought, that's it. I need to do this. I need to get my hands on this stuff. Well, that was over maybe 17 years ago, if you can believe that, when I attended my first what we used to call workshops at that time, and I hosted one myself in my home, and that, as they say, is the rest of the story. You probably can tell the rest of the story anyway. So I'd love to know what techniques and folds, maybe fancy folds, have you seen that really got you hooked on stamping? Pop that in the comments, please. I'd love to always hear these stories of what was it that got you. For me, it was embossing. All right. But the second thing that I just, sheepishly call myself a bit of a Stampin' Up snob. I'm not really a mean person about it, but it is the coordination and the quality of the Stampin' Up products. And so it's likely that got your attention as well. But I'd love to know what it is that got your attention. Whether you're a demonstrator or customer, what is it? Okay, you're right, Joy. I'm not seeing anything like it. And I am not one who likes to shop. I know that's shocking, but I don't care to walk up and down the aisles in the store. I have never been one who liked to go window shopping. It's just not something I enjoy. I don't know why, it just is. And so for me, knowing that all of our products coordinate so well, I don't have to worry about finding the right green that will go with this designer series paper. It's always here for me. So that is something that I enjoy. All right, I did break out the Christmas set, the framed and festive cling set, and I just inked up a little too much. So let me clean up the side here so we don't get a halo. But I am stamping my sentiment, "'Tis the season to be jolly," in Evening Evergreen. Let's hope I didn't over ink it. Sometimes I can be a little overzealous with my ink. Okay. And especially with, oh, that's not too bad at all. I like that. Especially with an ink pad that might be a little bit juicier than others. But I always double check before I stamp with my cling stamps. I always double check to make sure I don't have a lot of excess ink around the red rubber so that I don't get that halo around the image. Don't want that, right? You want a cleaner stamp. Sometimes I'm able to camouflage that if I do make that mistake by popping some type of embellishment or maybe a die cut image. I can, just camouflage that a little bit and nobody is aware of my mistake, right? There's no such thing in stamping. We can always have a quick save. All right, I'm going to add a couple of the flowers here from the framed floret set. So this is the photopolymer set. I'm going to add just a little bit to carry the theme of the flowers, and I have them going off the image. I'm going to stick with 3. I like this idea of odd numbers when it comes to design. It does something to the eye when we have odd numbers, and that's somewhat in a triangular shape, somewhat. My customers know that we talk about this rule of 3 and in a triangular type shape all the time. And so that's like a little design trick. I always feel fancy when I do that, as if I'm a real designer, right? I don't have a designing bone in my body, to be honest. I borrow from things that I see and like. We call that casing. Okay, let's color in a little bit again with my blend. So because I'm going to color in the flowers, and here's a little swag of the flowers that I've already stamped and cut with the dies. Because we're coloring in with our blends, remember that we're going to use the Memento ink for our blends. And so when I color in, I won't lose the shape or the boundary or the outline of the image, because it won't just kind of fade away under the alcohol blends, because these are alcohol markers. Okay, so a trick that I have tried with the blends, I absolutely love the shading that we can do with the blends. Okay, and so one trick that I have tried here lately is starting with the dark version of the color and then filling in with the light version. The reason why I'm making a big deal out of that is because when I first started playing around with these, I did the opposite. I would start with the light color and go back in with the dark. But I took a chance. I watched another video, a little how-to video for the shading, because I just love that. I feel very fancy, like I'm an artist, as I mentioned. And at that person's tutorial, they used the dark version first and came back in with the light. And so I thought, well, maybe I should try that. Of course, things start to look a little different when the ink dries, which is pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and color in this little swag, since I have the Poppy Parade dark out already. And I'm going to concentrate sort of in the center, and I'm just saying that roughly as the center of the flowers with the dark Poppy Parade before I go back in with the light version of that blend. Okay, I went back and forth about what I wanted to share with you today, but I finally settled on the idea that I needed to color today. It has been a week, and for me, coloring tends to be soothing. What about you? Is that something that I know there's some people who absolutely don't like to color. So I recognize that there are folks who don't enjoy it. But for me, it tends to be rather soothing. It has been a week. I mean, a week. I feel like I deserved Friday. I deserved today. It's been just almost impossible. Wednesday was almost impossible. So it was just, I had to remind myself, you know what? Girl, we can do hard things. We've done hard things before. We can do hard things again. And so I was looking forward to being with you all today so that I can color. I knew I had to color with you today. All right, so I'm going back in with my light Poppy Parade. And I have to tell you, I love this effect. I'm doing the opposite of what I typically do when I color with blends. Typically, I start with the light. This time I started with the dark. I really feel like going back with the light over the dark gives me a better blended effect. Okay? When we're blending with our blends, the goal is to take care of any stark lines. We want to make the colors sort of meld or melt in one into the other. I don't want necessarily stark lines such that you can see where the light starts and the dark begins, or vice versa. I want it to be a gradual change, especially on these flowers. And I like the way this is turning out. What do you think? I think this is going to be my method, y'all. This is going to be exactly how I color with my blends from now on. I really like the way that is turning out. So you can see the gradual change from light to dark, or dark to light, if you will, but without the stark lines of where it begins and ends. So Elizabeth likes the coloring. Yes, it is very relaxing. Tamika also, but you're not good at it. Well, Tamika, we have some tips, I'm sure. By the time you finish with this group of international, like global stampers, you will find and hear many more tips. It is our goal to bring you ideas and stamping projects each month. I'm very excited to be with this group. This is our first presentation. We pulled the group together. I've known some of these women for a couple years now when we were getting together virtually, and got a chance to see several at our leadership event. Our backstage event is what they call it, in New Orleans this summer when we went in August, and that was awesome to finally get to see some folks that had been stamping with virtually. Okay, that's one of the great benefits of being a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, is that you get a community. You get a wonderful community of stampers. And if you are not a demonstrator yet, I encourage you to talk to your demonstrator, the person who invited you to this group. Talk to them about what this means to be a demonstrator and the benefits of being a member of their team, because there are so many, but among my favorite benefits or pluses, if you will, is this wonderful community of crafters across the globe. That is just fantastic. Across the globe. So we are international. And I just love the fact that I have some Stampin' sisters and brothers that are not right here at my back door, but I also have some folks here locally too. And I see several of my team members watching today. I'm glad you are here, and customers as well. So glad that you joined me in this group for some inspiration and ideas. And again, we'd love to see what you come up with based on what you see today. Okay, so I am trying to, I think that's good. That's where I want to stop. This is coloring using the light soft succulent. And I'm just going to add a little bit of something with the dark soft succulent. Nothing too fancy, nothing too wild, but it gives you some depth. Okay, it gives you a little bit of depth, which is something that I want. Okay, even with this little bunch of flowers. I have to tell you that whenever I use the flower dies, especially when they are cutting out little clusters and I get a chance to arrange them with the gold foil or the gold glimmer paper like I'm going to do in a minute, I feel like a florist. I have this idea that I actually want to be an apprentice with a florist shop. I don't know what that's about. I just want to learn how to arrange flowers. Well, until I can finally get there, I feel like I can do that with my paper flowers. How about that? That's a good save, isn't it? Don't you think? This is the next best thing until I can get my hands on some actual flowers to do some arranging. I've always been intrigued by that, and the designer's eye and the eye for color that florists have. So this is a nice opportunity for me to play around with some of those concepts with paper flowers. Okay, absolutely, Elizabeth. It's just a big crafting family. We get so many ideas, and this idea for the group that we're in now is just a wonderful way to crowdsource these ideas. So to be honest with you, I already shared with you that I absolutely enjoy the products. That's what got my attention, right? So no matter what, I'm likely to use these products. I'm likely to sit in my bright yellow craft room. I would show it to you, but it's a little messy and I'm embarrassed. So I'll spare you those details. But one of the things that's even more fun to me is having a chance to craft with others, developing this community of crafters. And especially that I have the chance to do so with folks from around the world. So it's fun, absolutely fun to use the products, but even more so when I get to share it with others. So please check in with your demonstrator about the current promotion. You have until Monday to get your hands on the demonstrator kit and become a part of their team. If you are not already a demonstrator, you can become a part of their team. And the price of the kits vary. So I won't say that or say what that price is because it depends on your market. Here in the United States, the kit is $99 US dollars, and you get to pick $155 worth of products. So check with your demonstrator, however, to see what that cost would be and how much you get to pick. The purpose of the promotion in all of our markets is that you get a chance to get more bang for your buck. You get to choose what you want in your kit, which is awesome. Okay, so please check in with your demonstrator, the one who invited you to the group, to see how you can get in on this fun community of crafters from literally around the world. I'm sure they will be glad to hear from you. All right, so I'm using our silicone mat and a sponge. You can find the silicone mat in the annual catalog, probably in our tools section, so closer to the back. But I like to use it when I'm not using the adhesive sheets for these detailed type of dies. And that prevents me from getting dye or getting glue rather all over the place when I'm trying to glue the back with these sort of detailed or thin boundaries. I don't want to get the glue all over the place. Sometimes I have glued myself to the paper and it's like, ugh, I just make a big mess. So I use that silicone mat that you just saw and a sponge to kind of adhere or put the glue to the back of the this die cut so that it's still a little bit neater. I don't have glue oozing all around the edges or all over my hands, and the sponges help with that as well. I believe we also still carry those. Again, in our annual catalog, you'll see a lot of our basic tools in that annual catalog, okay? So now let's put this together. Let's put everything together. I'm going to use my dimensionals to pop up the middle piece here with my sentiment. And you might be thinking that does not look like dimensionals. Well, it's the remnants. It's what's left on my dimensional sheet after the little hexagons are gone. I guess they're hexagon shaped. I don't throw anything away, folks. So these are still foamy. They still have the adhesive, double-sided adhesive. Why not use them? So when I'm finished with the sort of inside, if you will, with the inside shapes, I just cut all around the boundary of that sheet until there's literally nothing left. Okay, so that's a tip. I know that I try to include a bottle of glue, adhesive, Tombow adhesive multi-liquid glue, and I should say a package or two of dimensionals in every order. I just throw them in there because I go through them and I know I'm going to use them. Okay, you better believe it. And there's no such thing as too many dimensionals. Don't let anybody tell you that. There's no such thing as too many dimensionals. I love the depth that we get when we are able to use our dimensionals on our die cuts and different things. It just adds a nice piece of character to whatever it is you're stamping. And let's do a little bit of arranging here, okay? So I'll have a little swag there at the bottom. And I think to really top it off, we can use, probably should put this down first. Let's see if I can do this without ripping everything apart. Maybe, might be a little bit of forgiveness. Not too bad. Okay, let's put these down first. And so I talked to you at the beginning about my rationale for adding a pop of color with the Poppy Parade, but we have a last little pop here with the gold. And I think these little elements add something really nice to our project. So I'm tucking that there. And I think my dimensionals on my little swag will help to keep everything down, okay? Oh, need to move that a little bit, just a little bit. This poor frame has probably had it with me repositioning things, but I need to pay attention so that the envelope that I'm going to put this in won't rip up the little swag, okay? All right, want to make sure that is secure. And folks, we have now a completed Christmas card, or one that could be used for Christmas. I started my example or my sample with thank you, but I decided to also play around with the red berries and so forth. I thought this would be a really pretty Christmas card as well, okay? All right, so the very last thing, I am glad you said something about bling, Elizabeth, because as if my glimmer paper isn't enough, I'm going to be using our gold adhesive backed swirls. That's a part of this special collection. Again, available November 1st. Please don't forget that. Mark your calendars and you too can get your hands on it. If you just got to have it before the 1st, you know that you can add it as a part of your demonstrator kit during this promotion, as I was telling you about. So folks, sounds like you need to get in touch with your demonstrator. Make sure that you can get your hands on these goodies that we're sharing with you, and especially this little sneak peek here. Or again, if you were able to participate in World Card Making Day, you likely saw this sneak peek there. Now, some of these items are going to be while supplies last, and some of the items will carry over into the new January mini catalog that's coming out. Demonstrators always get a chance to get a sneak peek and pre-order new items that are coming out before customers are able to. So that's yet another perk of joining this dynamic global team of demonstrators by getting that kit. Check in with the person who invited you to this group, and they will be happy to give you more details about this current promotion, which lasts through the 31st. For getting a few extra goodies for the price of the kit, the demonstrator kit. But I am quite sure they will be happy to tell you more about it if you have questions, and especially for your market. So the costs, of course, change or differ between our markets. Okay, so I hope you have enjoyed this particular card, the ideas of coloring on your designer series paper using Stampin' Blends. We used a little bit of bling to pop out some of those berries and the flowers there so that we can easily make this into a holiday card. And we have even more bling with our glimmer paper. Looks like I need to secure my little piece here a little bit more. I'll do that with just a tiny, tiny line of liquid glue. Okay, well, that's it for me. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you will stick around for the 5 o'clock hour for our last presenter who will bring it on home for us. Thank you for joining us today. It has been a pleasure crafting with you this evening. Take care.